Welcome back to Movies Explained, where we break down all of your favorite season episodes. Today we are going to recap episode 3 of the HBO series The Last of Us, so without further ado, let's begin! The episode begins with Joel standing at the lakeside, which is 10 miles away from the west of Boston, grieving about Tess. This grieving process goes on silently, where Ellie is trying to cheer him up by making small talk, but he won't answer her. Ellie gets frustrated and say to him that no one made him or Tess take her. They needed a battery for their truck, and they made a choice. So he shouldn't blame her for something which she didn't do. Joel doesn't reply to her, but just nods. She hands him over his jacket and asks her how long it will take them to reach Bill and Frank's place. Joel tells her it's a 5-hour-long hike. Soon they start moving through woods. Ellie asks her are there infected seen in this part of the state. Joel tells her it's not very often that an infected shows up on this path. She then inquires from him that what he is looking out for while holding his gun, to which he simply answers people. She then asks him about the scar on his head. He tells her that he got it when someone shot him but missed. Ellie continues asking him non-stop weird questions while Joel replies to her reluctantly. Soon they arrive at Cumberland Farm at a gas station. Joel tells Ellie to wait for him outside, while he will go inside and get some of his stuff that he has stashed here. But Ellie keeps following him and goes into the building with him while asking a dozen irrelevant questions. Joel came here a couple of years ago, so he forgot where he have put his stuff. While he looks for his stuff, Ellie goes around exploring the place. She finds out a hidden opening for the basement. She opens it and goes into the basement. While she was looking around, she unexpectedly sees an infected who is stuck under the debris but is still alive. She goes near him, cut his head with a knife, and the next moment kills him. She then goes back to ground level where Joel is. They start their journey again towards Bill and Frank's place. On their way they come across a crashed plane and Ellie asks Joel to have he ever traveled through it. Joel says yes a few times. It's fascinating for Ellie because ever since she came into the world she has never seen one flying. Ellie asks Joel that how did the spread started? Who bit the first person? Joel tells her that no one knows for sure where it all started, but the best guess is cordyceps mutated. Some of these mutated ones got into food supply of flour or sugar. He tells her that there were certain brands of these products which used to get sold globally. People would have eaten certain amount of these products and got affected by it. They started getting sick day by day. Eventually they started biting. He tells her that within 3 days everything was gone. On the way they come across an area where Ellie sees a land full of skulls and bones. Joel tells her that from small town people were evacuated to take the DQZ, but there was no space left there. They were killed by the soldiers then. Ellie asks why they killed them. Joel replies because dead one cannot get infected. Then the next scene goes back to a memory from 2003, where a countryside black woman is holding her baby while looking at the soldiers putting Red Cross at people's doors, who have been evacuated. Bill is watching the evacuation scene on his computer in his basement. Suddenly some soldier comes inside to see if the place is empty. Bill stays quiet in his basement while holding his shotgun. Soon the soldier leaves without making any trouble. Everyone then leaves the town to go to QZ while sitting on military vehicles. He then goes around the town collecting extra supplies for his survival. He started building fences and traps around the area that he lives in to keep himself safe. One afternoon he was having his lunch while watching surveillance camera footage. He notices an infected one coming towards his house. As he passes the trap which he made earlier, he gets shot and dies. Bill seems to be enjoying living alone. One fine day while Bill was working in his garage, he gets a signal that someone is in the pit hole. He gets his gun to kill the infected who has fallen down in his trap. But when he was reaching the trap, he hears a man's voice telling him that he is not infected. He goes near it and sees a middle-aged man. Frank is stuck in there who is going to Boston. He came from Baltimore QZ along with 10 people, but the place is gone and so are the other 9 men. Bill goes and gets a ladder for him and tells him the way to Boston. Frank asks him for some food as he haven't eaten for 2 days. Bill is reluctant to give him food because then more people might come to him asking for food. Frank, however, pursues him and he ends up giving him food and clothes. Slowly Franks break down Bill's defensive wall while playing his piano. They both hook up together and Frank ends up staying at Bill's place. After 3 years, one morning Bill and Frank get into a fight, where Frank expresses that he wants to have friends. He can't live like this. He will use the radio that they have, and he will start making new friends. And from that radio they find Tess and Joel. They invite them to lunch. The first meeting is awkward as Bill is acting paranoid while constantly holding a gun in his hand. Frank takes Tess inside the house to bond with her more, while Bill and Joel keep having their lunch outside. Joel tells him that he has seen things at QZ, and he can help him if he puts that gun down. Bill replies to him while putting his gun away, that he don't need him and his friend to complicate their life. Looking at his fence, Joel tells him that it will last for just one more year because it's eroding already. He can get him high-tensile aluminum because he will soon need safety from the raiders. Bill says that he is fine without his help. After some time later at night, raiders come to loot. Bill fights with them but ends up getting shot by the raiders. He gets injured very badly. During this serious injury phase, he asks Frank to call Joel because he can't be here alone. 10 years later, Frank is sitting on a wheelchair because he has cancer now while Bill is taking him inside. Frank looks depressed and tired while Bill seems hopeful about his recovery. Bill takes care of him by giving him his medicines, showers, and he tucks him into the bed, but he decides to stay awake for the night. In the morning, when Bill wakes up and finds out that he was awake all night and is sitting on his wheelchair, he tries to shift Frank back into bed while saying that he will get blue feet when he will fall asleep while sitting on his wheelchair. Frank tells him that he won't sleep because this is his last day, and he has given up. A sad-looking Bill says to Frank that they can find him a doctor who will treat his cancer. Frank says that no one is left out there to treat him and cancer was not even curable even during normal times. He has made up his mind. He asks Bill to give him one more good day just like before. That is all he wants from him. He says that they will go to the boutique to get themselves outfit and then they will get married. He hands Bill over all his pills and asks him to crush them all and put the mixture into his wine later at night. He will drink it all. He further asks Bill, after he is done drinking the poisonous wine, he must take him to their bed where he will fall asleep in his arms forever. Bill starts crying and say that he can't do it. Frank asks him that does he love him, to which Bill says yes. Frank asks him to love him the way that he wants him to, while Bill keeps crying. Later that day they did exactly what Frank wanted to, but instead mixing the pills and only Frank's wine in front of him, he secretly added some pills in the bottle of wine they both were drinking from. Frank's figure it out. Bill says that he is old, and Frank is his only purpose. Frank says that he wants protest, but it's objectively very romantic. Frank asks Bill to take him to the bed. Back in the present, Joel and Ellie reach at Bill and Frank's house. Joel notices that things are odd around. He goes inside and starts calling their names. While Joel is looking around for them, Ellie finds a key and letter from Bill. She tells Joel about it that he has wrote it for him. Without reading the letter, he asks Ellie, are they dead? Ellie nods and says yes. She starts reading the letter to Joel. In the letter, Bill says to Joel that his everything is now Joel's. He gives him his codes for bunker. He says to him that he has always respected him. He confesses to him that he was happy when everyone was gone, but he was wrong, because there was this one person worth saving and he saved him. He says to Joel that men like him are here to protect and save people from the bad guys. In the end, he mentions taking care of Tess. Upon hearing it, Joel gets sad. Joel tells Ellie to stay inside the house while he will go around to fetch few things. He goes outside and starts crying. He then goes into the garage and starts charging the truck batteries. He comes back into the house and asks Ellie to show him her arm. He tells her that they are going to Wyoming to meet his brother who is a firefly. He will know where this boot camp is and then they can take her there. Ellie says okay and out nowhere starts talking about Tess. Joel stops her right there and says that if he is taking her to the boot camp, she has to follow few rules. First rule is never talk about Tess. Second rule is that she will never tell anyone about her condition. Third rule, she will do whatever he will tell her to. Then he asks her to repeat it. Ellie repeats all the 3 rules and both of them get ready for their next journey. Joel packs up all the necessities for both of them while Ellie sneaks a gun for herself secretly. They both sit in Bill's truck and start their expedition. This is all for today's episode. If you liked it and want us to cover the next episode for you as well, then please make sure to like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts in the comments section. We will see you in the next one.